Welcome to our channel History of Coins, where we explore the hidden gems of numismatics. In today's video, we're diving into the fascinating world of rare 1-cent coins, cause some of these coins are rare among collectors and are worth millions. So today, we are gonna uncover the rarest coins and their values. So make sure to watch the complete video and find out if you have one of these. Now let's continue our today's video. Top 1 today, we are going to explore a coin that might just be hiding in your collection, sitting quietly with far more value than you could imagine. We're talking about the 1970 United States 1-cent coin, commonly known as the penny. You might be thinking, it's just a penny. How much could it possibly be worth? Well, prepare to be shocked, because the 1970 penny is not your average coin. It's a rare treasure in disguise, and it could be worth far more than you'd expect. Let's rewind and take a trip back to 1970. The United States was in a period of great change. The country was facing political and social upheaval. With the Vietnam War still raging, the civil rights movement continuing to fight for equality, and major changes in American culture shaping the future. Amidst all this, the U.S. Mint was busy creating coins, including the 1970 penny. While most of these pennies were produced in massive quantities and circulated in everyday transactions, some of these coins have a rare story to tell. And today we're going to uncover it at first glance. The 1970 penny looks pretty standard. On the front, we have the timeless image of President Abraham Lincoln, a design that has been with us since 1909, courtesy of artist Victor David Brenner. This portrait of Lincoln has become one of the most recognizable images on any U.S. coin. On the reverse side, you'll find the classic wheat stalks design. This was still in use for the final time on pennies in 1970 before being replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design in 1959. The wheat stalks represent the country's agricultural roots, and the overall design evokes a sense of history. But here's the thing. The 1970 penny is no ordinary coin. The real magic happens when we look at certain features of the coin, features that, when combined, can give it a value far beyond what you'd expect from a simple 1-cent piece. So, what exactly makes the 1970 penny special? The answer lies in its rarity, its minting process, and how well it has been preserved over the years. First, let's talk about the rarity of this coin. While millions of 1970 pennies were minted, not all of them were produced with the same quality. Over time, many of these pennies have been worn down from daily use. However, coins that were preserved in excellent condition, free from the scratches and marks of circulation, are incredibly rare. This is what makes certain 1970 pennies so valuable. Coins that are well maintained or kept in near-perfect condition can fetch far more than face value. In fact, coins in pristine condition are highly sought after by collectors, and a 1970 penny in top shape can be a collector's dream. Now, let's talk about a key factor that makes this penny even more desirable to collectors: the 1970 small date penny. While the 1970 penny was minted in large quantities, there are two distinct versions of the coin: the 1970 large date and the 1970 small date. The small date variety is significantly rarer, and it's this version that has earned a reputation as one of the more valuable coins of this year. The reason behind this is that the 1970 small date was struck with a different die, which resulted in a noticeably smaller date on the coin. This subtle variation makes the small date version more valuable to collectors, especially those who specialize in collecting error coins or those with unique characteristics. In addition to the small date variety, there's another factor that can increase the value of a 1970 penny: its condition. A well-preserved penny, especially one that's been kept in uncirculated or near mint condition, is going to be worth far more than a coin that's been heavily circulated. Coins that have been stored in protective holders or carefully kept in collections often maintain their sharp details and avoid the wear and tear that comes from being used in everyday transactions. But here's the real kicker. If you happen to come across a 1970 small date penny in mint condition, or, even better, one with an error or unique feature, you could be holding on to a coin worth far more than just 1 cent. In fact, this rare penny could fetch an astounding $69,000. Yes, that's right, $69,000 for a single 1970 penny. It's hard to believe that something as small and seemingly insignificant as a penny could have such a staggering value. But it's true in the world of rare coin collecting. This huge price tag reflects not just the rarity of the coin, but also the increasing demand for coins from the late 1960s and early 1970s, which are becoming more difficult to find in excellent condition. As the years go by, these coins are only getting rarer, making them more valuable to collectors who are looking to complete their collections with these elusive pieces. So, what does this mean for you? Well, if you've got a collection of coins from the 1970s, it might be time to take a closer look at your 1970 pennies. You could have a small treasure hiding right under your nose. If your penny happens to be one of the rare 1970s small date coins, especially in uncirculated or near-perfect condition, you could be sitting on a fortune. Just imagine finding a coin that's worth $69,000 when you least expect it. To wrap things up, the 1970 penny is a perfect example of how even the most common coins can hide tremendous value when they have certain characteristics, whether it's a rare minting variety, an error, or just excellent condition. If you have a 1970 penny, especially one with the small date variation, it's definitely worth having it professionally graded and assessed. You just never know. You could be holding on to a small piece of history that's worth thousands of dollars. Top 2, we're about to talk about a coin that may be sitting in your collection right now, quietly holding a much higher value than you'd ever expect. That's right. Today we're exploring the 1971 United States 1-cent coin, also known as the penny. Now, I know what you're thinking. How much could a penny from 1971 really be worth? Well, brace yourselves, because you're about to discover something incredible about this seemingly ordinary coin. Let's take a step back and look at the world in 1971. The United States was in the middle of a dynamic era of change. The Vietnam War was ongoing, and the country was experiencing significant political, cultural, and social shifts. The economy was growing, but there were also challenges, including inflation and economic uncertainty. Amidst all these changes, the U.S. Mint was busy producing millions of pennies, including the 1971 1-cent coin. While the coin itself seems simple, it holds a key to understanding how coins from this period can be worth far more than their face value today. When you first glance at the 1971 penny, it may seem like any other penny you've encountered. On the obverse, you'll find the familiar portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, a design that has adorned the penny since 1909, created by artist Victor David Brenner. This iconic portrait has become synonymous with the U.S. penny and is instantly recognizable. The reverse side of the coin, however, is where the magic happens. It features the familiar Lincoln Memorial design, which was introduced in 1959 and replaced the wheat stock design that had been used on the penny for decades. This reverse design celebrates one of America's most iconic symbols of democracy. So, why should you care about a 1971 penny? Well, while the coin was produced in huge quantities and circulated widely, there are certain factors that can make a 1971 penny far more valuable than its face value. First and foremost, it's all about the condition. Coins from this era were used extensively in daily transactions, so finding one that's still in excellent, uncirculated condition is actually quite rare. If you're lucky enough to have a 1971 penny that's been preserved in pristine condition, you may have a valuable find in your hands. But here's where it gets even more exciting. There's a specific version of the 1971 penny that collectors are particularly interested in, the 1971 penny with a unique minting feature. This version is known as the 1971 double die obverse penny. What does that mean? Well, it refers to a rare minting error where the design on the obverse was struck twice, creating a double impression. This mistake can be clearly seen in certain areas of the coin, especially around the letters and numbers, giving the penny a distinctive and slightly blurred appearance. Coins with minting errors are highly prized by collectors because they are considered one of a kind. These errors make the coin unique, and therefore, far more valuable than a regular 1971 penny. The 1971 double die obverse penny is a perfect example of how a small mistake can result in a coin being worth thousands of dollars. If you're lucky enough to come across one of these rare double-struck coins, you could have a major treasure on your hands. Let's talk about value now. You might be wondering just how much a 1971 penny could actually be worth. Well, if you have one in excellent, uncirculated condition, or even better, a 1971 double die obverse penny with a clear, visible minting error, you could be looking at a coin worth far more than just 1 cent. In fact, a well-preserved 1971 penny, especially one with a minting error, can fetch an astounding $67,000. That's right, $67,000 for a single penny. It's hard to believe, right? But in the world of coin collecting, this is the reality for rare and well-preserved coins. To put that into perspective, think about all the pennies you've probably tossed aside over the years, ones that you didn't give a second thought to. Most pennies from this era aren't worth more than 1 cent. But if you happen to have a 1971 penny that's in excellent condition, or, even more rare, one with a minting error, you could be sitting on a small fortune. It's a reminder that sometimes, the most overlooked coins are the ones that hold the most value. So, what does all of this mean for you? If you've got a jar of pennies or an old coin collection lying around, it might be time to take a closer look at your 1971 pennies. You could be holding on to a rare gem without even realizing it. A 1971 penny in near-perfect condition or with a minting error could be worth far more than you thought. It's also worth noting that if you do find a valuable 1971 penny, having it professionally graded by a reputable grading service will help determine its true value. Coins that are graded and authenticated by experts can fetch much higher prices on the market than ungraded coins. So, if you've got a coin that you think might be valuable, don't hesitate to get it graded. To wrap things up, the 1971 penny is a perfect example of how something as simple as a penny can hold tremendous value. With its unique minting variations and the possibility of finding rare error coins, the 1971 penny is definitely one to keep an eye out for. So, if you've got one of these pennies in excellent condition, or even better, a double die obverse penny, you could be sitting on a coin worth an impressive $67,000. Top 3, we've got something truly special for all of you collectors and treasure hunters. You might have seen it before in your spare change, or perhaps it's lying around in an old coin jar somewhere. But little did you know, the 1974 United States 1-cent coin, also known as the penny, could be worth far more than its face value. That's right, today we're uncovering the hidden value of the 1974 penny, and trust me, you'll want to stick around until the end of this video. You won't believe how much this seemingly ordinary coin could be worth. Let's set the scene. In 1974, the United States was in the midst of a turbulent yet transformative period. The Vietnam War was winding down, the Watergate scandal had shaken the political landscape, and the economy was feeling the strain of inflation. During this time, the U.S. Mint was busy producing pennies, and millions of these 1974 pennies were released into circulation. At first glance, these pennies appear to be just like any other, featuring President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. The simple, recognizable design of the penny hasn't changed much since its inception, making it a familiar sight to all of us. But here's the thing. While the 1974 penny may seem like any other penny from that era, there's a rare twist that makes it incredibly valuable for collectors. The key to this value lies in its minting and the unique variations that occurred during the production process. While millions of 1974 pennies were struck, only a select few carry the traits that make them highly sought after by collectors today. First, let's talk about the overall condition of the coin. As you might expect, the vast majority of 1974 pennies have been circulating for decades, meaning they're often worn down or damaged. Coins that have been exposed to years of handling, wear, and time are rarely in perfect condition, and finding one that has been well preserved is quite rare. Coins that have been protected from heavy circulation, whether they've been kept in a collection or simply stored carefully, are incredibly valuable. If you happen to find a 1974 penny that is in mint or near mint condition, it can be worth far more than its face value. But here's where it gets even more interesting. There's a specific variety of the 1974 penny that collectors are actively searching for, the 1974 double die obverse penny. This rare error occurred when the coin was struck twice, creating a double effect on the letters and numbers on the obverse side of the coin. This error is most noticeable around the word Liberty and the date 1974, where the design appears to be doubled. The effect is subtle, but if you look closely, you'll notice a slight shadow or secondary image of the lettering. This double die variety is incredibly rare and highly prized by collectors because it's one of those unique features that stands out from the mass-produced coins. Error coins, especially those with double dies, have been a hot commodity for years. They're special because they are not only rare but represent a mistake made during the minting process. These errors are often one of a kind, making them far more valuable than regular coins. The 1974 double die obverse penny is no exception. A coin like this, in excellent condition, can demand quite a hefty price on the collector's market. So, now you're probably wondering, How much is a 1974 penny worth? Well, if you happen to have one of these rare 1974 double die obverse pennies, or if you're lucky enough to find a 1974 penny that's been well preserved and free from wear, you could be holding a coin worth more than you ever imagined. In fact, the value of one of these coins can skyrocket to an astounding $63,000. Yes, you heard that right, $63,000 for a single 1974 penny. It's hard to believe, but the rarity and the unique characteristics of these coins have made them highly sought after by collectors. And as time goes on, the value of these pennies is only expected to rise as more and more collectors search for these elusive gems to add to their collections. Now, you may be thinking, I've got a few 1974 pennies lying around. How do I know if I have a valuable one? Well, it all comes down to examining the coin closely. If you notice any doubling or a slight shadow effect around the lettering or the date, then you may have a double die obverse penny in your hands. If you're unsure, it's always a good idea to have the coin professionally graded by a reputable coin grading service. Grading will give you an accurate assessment of the coin's value and condition, and it will also help ensure that you get the best price possible if you decide to sell it. Even if your 1974 penny isn't one of the rare varieties, it's still worth checking its condition. Coins that are in good to excellent condition, with minimal wear, can still fetch a nice premium. So don't just toss those pennies aside. Take the time to look through your collection. You might just be sitting on a small fortune without even realizing it.to wrap up. The 1974 United States 1-cent coin might seem like an ordinary penny, but hidden within this simple piece of currency is the potential for a major payday. Whether it's due to its rarity, its condition, or its status as a sought-after error coin, the 1974 penny can be worth far more than its face value. If you happen to have one of these rare, valuable coins in your collection, you could be holding a treasure worth a whopping $63,000. Top 4, we're going to talk about a coin that many of you might have lying around, perhaps even without knowing its true value. That's right. Today we're focusing on the 1976 United States 1-cent coin, better known as the penny. This coin may look like just another penny, but when you dig a little deeper, you'll realize it could be worth far more than you expect. Let's start by setting the stage. 1976 was a landmark year in American history. It marked the 200th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence, the United States bicentennial. There were celebrations all over the country, from parades to commemorative events, and of course, a new wave of coinage to celebrate the occasion. For the penny, however, the design remained relatively unchanged, continuing with the familiar Lincoln Memorial reverse and Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the obverse. But, as with all things in coin collecting, what might appear to be a simple and common penny could be hiding a surprise. Most of the pennies produced in 1976 are quite ordinary and aren't worth much more than their face value. However, a closer look reveals that some 1976 pennies, especially those that were carefully preserved or have a unique minting flaw, can be incredibly valuable to collectors. Like with most rare coins, it's all about the condition and the rarity of the particular variant. Some of these coins, especially in uncirculated or near mint condition, have been known to fetch impressive sums at auctions and from collectors.so. What makes the 1976 penny so special? Well, while the design of the coin itself didn't change much from previous years, there were still some significant factors that make certain 1976 pennies stand out. First, let's talk about condition. As we know, most pennies have been in circulation for years, which means they're often worn, scratched, or discolored. But if you happen to have one of these 1976 pennies that has been carefully kept in pristine condition, you could have a coin worth far more than just 1 cent. But here's the real kicker. There are some rare 1976 pennies that were minted with slight mistakes or irregularities, mistakes that can make a coin incredibly valuable. One of the most sought-after varieties is the 1976 double die obverse penny. If you're unfamiliar with this term, let me explain. A double die obverse occurs when the die used to strike the coin is misaligned, resulting in a doubled image on the front of the coin. This means you'll see some areas of the design, like the date or the word Liberty, looking a little blurry or double-stamped. This error makes the coin highly collectible because it's a unique mistake, and error coins are extremely popular in the numismatic world. While these double die coins are rare, they are definitely out there, and if you find one, you could be holding on to a real treasure. Now, let's talk numbers. You might be wondering just how much a 1976 penny could really be worth. As with most rare coins, the value depends on its condition and any unique features it might have, such as a minting error. A standard 1976 penny in circulated condition isn't going to fetch much more than its face value. But if you have a 1976 penny in mint or uncirculated condition, or better yet, a 1976 double die obverse penny in excellent shape, you could be in for a big surprise. If you're lucky enough to possess one of these rare varieties, you could be looking at a coin worth up to $60,000. Yes, that's right, $60,000 for a single 1976 penny. It's hard to believe, right? But in the world of coin collecting, rarities like the 1976 double die obverse penny can command a hefty price because collectors are constantly on the hunt for these rare pieces. Now, let's say you're wondering if you might have one of these valuable 1976 pennies. The first thing you should do is closely examine the coin. Look for any signs of doubling around the date or the lettering. If you notice that the numbers or letters appear to be doubled or blurry, you could very well have a double die obverse penny in your hands. If the coin is in great condition, free of scratches, discoloration, or heavy wear, then it could be worth far more than just 1 cent if you do find a 1976 penny with a noticeable minting error. The next step would be to have it professionally graded. A professional coin grader will be able to assess its condition and confirm whether it's truly an error coin. Coins that are professionally graded tend to have higher value, and they also have better chances of selling for a significant price. So, what should you do if you find a rare 1976 penny? If you happen to have a double die obverse penny or any other rare variant from 1976, consider getting it authenticated and graded. The value could increase significantly if it's in great condition and is certified by a reputable grading service. From there, you can choose to sell it to collectors who are actively seeking rare coins, or you can hang on to it and watch its value grow as time passes. In conclusion, the 1976 penny might seem like just another ordinary coin, but with its rare variations and the potential for unique minting errors, it can actually be worth a small fortune. So, if you're sitting on a stash of 1976 pennies, or if you find one in your change, don't just dismiss it. Take the time to examine it carefully. You could be holding a coin worth an astonishing $60,000. Top 5, we've got a special treat for you. Something that might just be sitting in your collection right now without you even knowing it. Today, we're talking about the United States 1-cent coin from 1981. This seemingly ordinary penny could actually be worth far more than you think. So, let's take a closer look at why the 1981 penny is so special and what makes it worth a small fortune to collectors. First, let's set the scene. The 1980s were an interesting time in American history. Ronald Reagan had just taken office, the country was experiencing a recession, and the world was beginning to shift in the midst of the Cold War. The U.S. Mint was busy at work producing coins, and the 1981 penny was no exception. But while most of these pennies are common and circulated without much fanfare, there's a reason why the 1981 penny stands out in the eyes of collectors. So, what makes the 1981 penny worth so much more than its 1-cent value? The key lies in its rarity, its condition, and some subtle yet valuable minting errors. As you might know, most pennies are produced in large quantities and circulate for years, making them fairly easy to find. However, there are certain varieties of the 1981 penny that are much rarer, and that's where the real value comes in. Let's explore these rare variants and why they are so highly sought after. First, let's talk about the condition of the coin. As with all coins, the better the condition, the more valuable it becomes. Most of the 1981 pennies you'll come across have likely been in circulation for years, which means they've been worn down, scratched, and possibly tarnished. But every so often, a 1981 penny escapes circulation and is preserved in mint or near mint condition. When this happens, the coin can become a prized possession for collectors, who are always on the lookout for well-preserved coins from years gone by. But condition alone isn't what makes the 1981 penny so valuable. There are certain rarities that collectors are willing to pay top dollar for, and one of the biggest factors contributing to the 1981 penny's value is its potential minting errors. If you've been into coin collecting for any amount of time, you know that error coins are some of the most valuable pieces in the numismatic world. And when it comes to the 1981 penny, there's one error in particular that sets some of these coins apart from the rest. The 1981 double die obverse penny. What's a double die, you ask? Well, a double die occurs when the die used to strike the coin is misaligned during the minting process, causing the design to be doubled. This results in a visible doubling of letters, numbers, or other elements on the coin. In the case of the 1981 penny, the double die error is most commonly seen around the word Liberty and the date 1981. If you find a penny with this doubling effect, you've stumbled upon a true treasure. Collectors are constantly on the lookout for these error coins, as they are rare and offer a unique look into the minting process. The 1981 double die obverse penny is a great example of a coin that has captured the attention of numismatists around the world. If you happen to have one of these rare error pennies, you could be sitting on a small fortune. Now, let's talk about the value of a 1981 penny in mint condition or with a double die error. While most 1981 pennies are worth only a few cents, a well-preserved coin or a penny with the double die error can command an incredible price. If you're lucky enough to find a 1981 penny in excellent condition, or better yet, one with the rare double die error, you could be looking at a coin worth up to $55,000. Yes, you heard that right, $55,000 for a single penny. It's hard to imagine that a small coin like this could hold such value. But in the world of coin collecting, it's true. So, how can you tell if you have one of these valuable coins? The first thing you'll want to do is closely examine the lettering on the coin. Look around the word Liberty in the year 1981. If you notice any doubling, meaning the numbers or letters appear more than once or seem to have a shadowed image beside them, you could be in luck. You'll also want to check the overall condition of the coin. If it looks pristine, without any scratches, discoloration, or wear, it's worth taking a closer look. And if you spot any doubling, make sure to get the coin professionally graded to confirm its authenticity and value. If you happen to find a 1981 penny with the double die error, don't wait to get it appraised. A professional coin grading service can help determine the exact value of your coin based on its condition and rarity. If it turns out to be a rare, well-preserved example, you might be holding on to an investment that will continue to appreciate in value. But even if your 1981 penny isn't a double die, don't dismiss it just yet. A penny in great condition, especially one that's been well preserved, can still fetch a decent amount from collectors who are always looking to add coins in top-notch shape to their collections. In the world of coin collecting, condition is everything, and a penny in excellent condition from 1981 is definitely worth a second look. In conclusion, while the 1981 United States 1-cent coin might seem like just another penny, it's actually a hidden gem for collectors. Whether it's because of its rarity, its potential for minting errors, or its condition, the 1981 penny has become a sought-after coin in the numismatic world. If you happen to come across a 1981 penny that's in pristine condition, or even better, a penny with the double die error, you could be holding on to a coin worth $55,000. Thanks for tuning in today. I hope this video has inspired you to take a closer look at your change or dig through your coin collection. You never know what hidden treasures might be waiting for you. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss out on exciting discoveries in the world of rare coins. Happy collecting!